Well, welcome back everybody. In today's video, I wanted to address the topic of traditional religion versus spirituality. There seems to be a bit of a disconnect between those two entities, even though the basis of all of the traditional religions and spirituality do come to a common point, and that is the understanding that there is a higher power. Call it God, call it the universe, call it spirit, call it whatever you want. There is the commonality and the common thread between all traditional religions and all spiritual practices and beliefs that come down to the basis that there is an overriding energy, a creator, a power. Where we seem to have the disconnect is how that is interpreted and how it is channeled through to different people. Now, just a brief disclaimer here before we get into it too much. I do want to make the point that these concepts, these words that I'm saying right now, constitute my opinion. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything of any religion. I believe that everybody has the right to believe whatever it is that they want to believe. But now let's get back to the basics. Traditional religions were created as a means to control the masses, plain and simple. You can go back to feudal England, and the churches owned the land, and the serfs got to work the land and got to keep little pittance of food. But it was a way to control the masses. It was a way to make people fear bad consequences if they did what wasn't acceptable in that era, that time, that community, that culture. And I don't believe that it serves any purpose, certainly not our soul's journey, to live a life that is based on controlling your beliefs through fear. I remember in 1997, I was traveling in Turin, Italy, for a client of mine. And while I was there, I went on a walking tour. Well, during the walking tour, we ended up going through one of the largest churches that existed in Turin. And I was, quite frankly, baffled and shocked. And again, this is not meant to be disrespectful of the religion, but the inside of the cathedral was plastered in gold. There were blind beggars sitting out on the steps of this building, and there was all this immense wealth throughout the cathedral here. But what was most shocking to me of all was in a certain portion of this church, there were individual chambers where individual families bought this area. It was like their own personal church within a church. And they were able to buy their way into heaven back in those days. The church had them believing that if they purchased this, they had enough money, they actually got a certificate. I saw the certificates that basically was a get out of jail free card. It gave them the right to go to heaven because they purchased this. So as you can see, there is a lot of manipulation and control done by traditional religions in the name of God, Creator, Spirit, the universe. Now, I will qualify this by saying that in many ways, people who are practicing from a spiritual perspective are really no different. I attended the spiritualist church here in where I live in Calgary many years ago now. And I thought that maybe that might be the answer for me to find a fellowship and meaning within a spiritualist church. But I was just as dissuaded to go back and envelop that into my life as any kind of traditional religion, because what I found was that people are people are people, and they were trying to control, and they were playing the same politics, and I'm a better medium than you are, and it was just, quite frankly, it was quite distasteful. So having that out of the way, I would like to state this. In the beginning, there was the Creator, the energy that created all of this, created all of us. And it was not influenced by man. It was not controlled by religions. It did not have to follow a dogma. It just was. Now, I think that there is a good, solid reason why people should have social consciousness. They should be aware. They should follow certain rules that traditional religions and spirituality teach you about being a good person. But you do not have to be a member of a religious organization of any kind in order to be a good, kind person, in order to have a conscience, in order to understand that there are consequences to behavior. I know very, very many agnostics and atheists who are good, gentle, kind people. The atheists especially, I mean, they don't think that there's anything after this life here. But yet they choose to do good. And that's because they are good people. Whether they believe that there's any consequence in the afterlife, they understand that there are consequences here and now to how you behave. So, just to wrap up here, you will not find on this channel that I'm going to espouse any kind of religious dogma. I will not judge. I will not calculate based anything on what your beliefs are. I believe each of us is where we need to be on our journey, and we can either choose to stay where we are, or we can choose to explore and question and move forward. Traditional religions serve masses of people quite nicely, and they're happy there. I'm not doing this channel to try to tell them that they're less than I am or have any kind of a spiritual arrogance at all. My point here is to let everybody watching this video know and understand that there are a number of different levels of understanding, and each of us is where we are, and nobody should judge anybody by where they are. So I hope that this has prompted a little bit of internal dialogue with you. If you'd like to share in the comments, please do so. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I think that we can open this up to an even broader discussion sometime in the future. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.